Oh yeah, Dory's on this. I think Dory, how was your ASL class? I think you might have to type your response. I think you said you were on
I know she can't
silent mode
speak.
this week.
I
Can't
I'm
speak.
back. I can
Ah,
chat.
Oh, you can. Hello.
yay.
Yeah, it
Woo.
was amazing, but it feels kind of strange to use my voice right now after a week of complete silence. It was a really amazing experience.
I bet it was. I bet it was. As you were saying that, I was like, wow, could I do that? And I was like, I probably could do it, but do I want to do it?
It was so interesting when you went into a cafeteria or a large meeting room because it was dead silence except for laughter, because laughter is not something that you can do silently. So
Yeah.
it was actually really nice because there's no negative interference. It was really peaceful and calming. And then all you ever hear is laughter. So it seems like such a happy environment. I really enjoyed it.
Wow. And
Oh,
where was
fantastic.
this?
It was in Ontario, about 20 minutes out of a tiny town called Parry Sound. So it was in the woods. So that's why I didn't have any Wi-Fi or cell reception or anything. So I wasn't able to see some of these meetings live, unfortunately. But it was a beautiful, beautiful spot with tons of trees and a lake for swimming. And yeah, it was
Oh,
just
lovely.
amazing.
Amazing.
Very
Oh,
cool. Oh,
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Hello, Linda. How are you, gorgeous?
Oh, I'm on my phone. I just got up from a nap, so I'm like, ah.
Oh, me too. I actually put nap time on my calendar every single day.
Oh, love,
Nice.
love naps.
I know, I do too. And you know what? I used to feel like really guilty when I would take naps. Um, because there are people in my life who don't feel as positively about them, and they feel that they're a waste of time. But for me, it really does like reboot me so that I can continue on with my day because I have a really heavy like morning, afternoon, and then afternoon into evening, and so having that break allows me just to have that chill time in the middle of the day so that I can reboot, recharge, and be ready to go. So
Yeah, it's
I
like
just
two
it's
days
me.
for the price of one.
Right? It
Hmm.
really is.
That's it.
I get to double the productivity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I
Hello,
love it.
Philomena. How are you? Hello.
Hi, I'm in my
Hi.
pool.
Oh, look
Oh,
at her. She
nice.
really
Look
is
at
in her
that.
pool. She is like literally in her pool. I love that. I love that.
Didn't know I was going
Wow.
to be on video, but that's okay.
That's all right. It's all good. I'm so
It's all
glad that you were
good.
able to
Yeah.
join us.
Oh,
Yay. And we got
Great,
Christine
thanks
is
for
here.
doing
Well.
this.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. Hey, Christine.
Hey there, everyone. Actually,
Hey.
stuck around for a few minutes, but just wanted to say hello and thanks for the week.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
you
our
bet.
pleasure. Thanks for being part of it.
Yeah, it was awesome
Definitely.
to really,
It was
really
so fun.
start thinking about our rates and how we're going to change them. So this is our official. We like get to announce our new rates. So we're going to go around and we're going to introduce who we are, what it is that we tutor, and proudly share with everybody what our new rate is with our tutoring business. So let's start with Linda. Linda, tell everybody who you are and what your new rate is.
well, I'm a reading tutor and I work with creatives, what we used to call right brain people, artists, but also athletes. Like I realized that half of the people that I'm teaching right now are athletes. So it's not just people who are visual processors, but people who are kinesthetic as well, who need to touch things, who may not have received instruction that they could interpret when they were in
Mm.
school. And
Yeah.
so didn't, had struggled with reading and academics. So that's like my niche. And I teach high school and adults. So I am, I charge $100 an hour, and I am confidently saying that even though I already raised my rate to that, I didn't have inner confidence about it.
Mm.
And this week, it gave me an opportunity to sit down and really calculate out a lot of things, like the exercise in the workbook that was, what is your, like, what do you really want to achieve financially?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was even just one little question, right? What is your financial, I forget how it was worded, but I sat down and really, for the first time, Joanne was always asking me, well, what's your goal and how much you spend on this? I hadn't really sat down and thought it through.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was my week for that. And when I really looked at it, it's not just what I want, it's what I need.
Yeah.
And it is also, well, when I did the conversion from what it took to live a middle class lifestyle in 1980 and then compared it to now, well, it takes $167,000 a year now to live a middle class lifestyle. So it's like mom and dad each make 80,000, or someone makes 100,000 and someone makes 60, but that's with one child.
Mm.
Okay. And that's in an average state of Ohio. That's
Mm-hmm.
not even on the East Coast. Okay.
Well, thank God I live in Wisconsin.
So yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, when I really looked at it, it actually told me that I needed to make $155 an hour.
Okay.
When I looked at the hours that I wanted to work, and that was another really important thing in the workbook, when it was like envisioning the life that you want, how many hours do you want to work? Well, I'm not the person who wants to work 40 hours a week
Mm-hmm.
because I need time to do other things.
Right.
I need time to market. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I have other things that I'm doing. And so I have in the back of my mind that figure also, that I really need $155 an hour if I'm going to work the hours that I want. But what I've done for now is I added 4 hours on to my to the amount that to the 20 that I wanted to work. And I said, well, I can add some hours on the weekend. That's so easy, 2 hours a day. And so I can go with my current amount of $100 an hour. And let me tell you, looking at the fact that what I really need is $155 an hour, and I know I'll get there as I grow and as I establish my value and credibility and, all that. But looking at that, it's kind of like, when you shoot for 100%, you might get 80, but if you shoot for 120%, you might get you might stand a chance of meeting all your goals. It made me never want to let someone talk me down from 100.
Yes. Yes.
So
There we
it's
go.
really
Because you
built.
need it. You've realized I need it in order to do A, B, C, D. I have to charge this. And that's exactly what I did at the beginning of this year. As I said, okay, Joanne, here are your goals to be able to help your 2 girls right now through college and save for your third to go through college and to buy that home that you want. In order to do that, how much money do you need? And so I took a look at all of that. I got honest with those numbers. And I wasn't apologetic about those numbers. These are real goals. And I don't think that my dreams are like anywhere out there that are like, oh, you shouldn't shoot for that dream. Like they're not like insane dreams, right? And when I took a look at, okay, here's how many jump starts I need to sell. Here's how many, students I need to work with. I actually doubled the hours that I was working with my students and I raised my rate $25 because I was like, this is what I need to charge. And that entire process really helped me to really get honest with the numbers and what I want to make. And that this isn't just about, am I worth it? But this is what I need to make in order for it to be sustainable to help reach my goals.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really, So it's been a great week for me. You know, it's been a
Yay.
really good process. Seeing where I'm at and feeling like it's not where I want to end up necessarily in terms of pricing. And in a weird way, though, that gave me confidence. Why would I even undercut
Right.
what I'm already doing?
Mhm.
Right.
You know, so I've got it. I got the confidence, and I really appreciate the
Yeah.
week.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, and no longer does that $30 client have to stay because you absolutely need them. You actually need them to go so you can open up that spot so you can work with the clients who are going to work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the
Yeah.
road.
You're on the right road. I love it. Christine, tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I taught in the classroom for 12 years. I taught first grade, and then before COVID, a year or two before COVID, I started my own business out of my home, and I do pre-K through grade 2 reading tutoring. So basically, I just took what I knew from the classroom and just created my own little classroom in my home, and it's been working out really well for me. I charge $42 an hour currently, and I know that's much, much lower than everyone around me, on at least on the Facebook, group and all that.
Mhm.
In my area, the highest that I know of is 45. And so I was really scared to go above that. I was scared to be that. I thought maybe I would be compared with, I don't know. I'm a very worrisome person. So I think just listening to everything over the week, I think my new rate, I'm going to keep, grandfather the current students, just keep them at 42 and see where
Mhm.
that goes. New students, I think I'm going to start at 50. And
Oh,
again,
good.
Right. Good for
I don't
you.
know if that's, hope you don't take that as like a failure in my,
Oh my
No.
God, no.
No.
I'm a tough nut
Not
to
at all.
crack. And if you got me to go over 45, that was great.
No,
No,
amazing, and kudos to you, because that's like you're basing it on what you need, what you're comfortable with, and you're going to
you're
like you
stretching
said,
yourself.
you're stretching, exactly. You're cracking beyond the 45, so that's great.
Yeah.
And in time, you might be like, hey, maybe I can go more the next
Oh,
time
yeah, you
around. But for
can.
now,
You
this is a
can.
huge start for you, Christina. This is a
Yes.
huge start.
And we're all at different stages too inside of our business.
Exactly.
I think it's really important to
Absolutely.
notice. So if you guys haven't started playing the game of tutoring, definitely go to onlinetutorcoach.com/game. I help you determine what level you're at inside of your tutoring business. And then I give you a checklist of what you need to focus on so that you can create a sustainable online tutoring business without having to focus on Facebook ads and Google ads and all that kind of stuff. So I really guide you into what do I need to put into place. So are you also doing online tutoring, Christine? Or is it all in your home?
You know what, during the COVID time I kind of transferred people over to the online if they wanted to continue. But I've since tapered off from that for now.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
something in my future, but
Yeah.
definitely. Because if it's online as well, you can charge whatever you really want, because there is
Doesn't
no
have to be based off
geographical.
of, right.
Exactly.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
true.
It's a
And
huge
that's true. That's a
opportunity.
good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can then attract those people that they're willing to. And I work with a similar age as you, but I've been doing this since 2010. And I didn't get to where I'm at today with my pricing overnight. It
Likewise. Yeah,
and
And
there
you
were
know
a
takes
what?
lot
time.
of like boundaries I had to I still have to keep pushing those boundaries for myself and moving beyond them.
And you know what, Joanne, you kind of inspired me in a way because I was thinking, I know this is like probably a crossover to other things, but just your 8 to 10 or 8 to 12, what is it? Hours of instruction, take them a full grade
Yeah.
level kind of thing. This week kind of made me look at my own, what I was doing with the students, and I get results, but could they be better? Could they, how much exactly what kind of results am I getting? What
Yeah.
pushing them in this amount of time? So I like went back through records, and I'm just kind of in this analyzing state of how could I make things better? And if
Yeah.
I'm even more confident about my business and what I'm putting out there, then I think I would feel even more confident in the future to raise it to a
Yes.
higher. price. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yay. Awesome. Congratulations. It's a
Wonderful.
really huge stepping stone. And nobody is here to judge anybody's rate. I mean, even if somebody were to say $20 an hour, I raised from 15 to $20 an hour, and that was a big jump for you. That's a big jump for you, right? Like that's where this is a personal journey for every single one of us when it comes to money. And on a we're all on a path, but we're not all on the same path because we bring all of our
Yeah.
prior experiences into our journey, right? And not one of us
Mhm.
has walked the same exact path to be where we're at today. But this is I want tutors and teachers. The school system always put a cap on what it was you could make. There was always a top number. And that was it. That was the highest you could make. You couldn't go above that unless you decided that you wanted to become an admin. And once you became an admin, then you could. And I was just like, I never want to become an admin. Would I like to make six figures? Sure, but not if it means I have to become an admin in order to do
Yeah.
that. And
Mhm.
so we were like, I was kind of stuck in the I'll never be able to make six figures. Like I really did think that I'll never be able to make six figures with my business because well, I'm just a tutor. That was like where I was starting from. And I had to realize I had to stop saying I'm just a tutor because I am so much more than that. I am changing lives for kids, and so are you, Christine. So
Mhm.
awesome. We've got Amelie.
Yeah.
Okay, we finally get to see Michael if we've been saying Amelie's name right.
Yeah. How do we do?
How did we do?
Hi.
Hi.
It's Amali, but it's fine.
Amali. Okay,
Oh,
Amali.
Yamali. So
I'll never
sorry.
forget. Amali, I will never forget, I promise you, because I make the mistake, I try it, and then once I hear it, I say it over and over again until I nail it. So you know how some people say, I'm not good with names? I used to be one of
Yeah,
those people. And then I realized, Amali, you can be. You just have to repeat people's names and listen to how they pronounce it and then continue to pronounce it like that. So, Amali, you don't have to worry about me forgetting your name and you might hear me say it a lot today so that I really hone in on it and I'll say it correct for the rest of my life, I promise.
it's no problem. Really, it's no problem. Um,
Amali, tell us about
So how was your week?
about you and what you've been able to get out of this and what your new rate is.
well, I haven't really changed my rate. I've listened to what you've said, and it's made me feel more confident about the rate that I literally increased it for recently.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So it's made me feel more confident about actually keeping going with that rate. What you've said about the value that I give my clients, I just forget about all of that. And then it was only recently that I was I had an inquiry, and then I was sort of not showing that I was confident. And of course, they
Mhm.
asked me, could they have a discount?
Mhm.
And it was exactly
Uh-huh.
what you said, because I suddenly had this, oh, is that okay with you? Why did I
Yes.
say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
Mhm.
so those kind of that really, hit home that that's
Yeah.
exactly what I did,
Yep.
when instead of, thinking about what I actually do and the results that I've had with my clients. Um, and I haven't managed to go through the entire booklet, that the workbook that you gave, but I need to go through it more. Um, but it's been very helpful in that respect.
So what is your new rate?
Well, it's 50,
Uh-huh.
um,
And what was your old
and
rate? Like before that, because you had just moved it up.
it was 45.
Okay, so you've gone from 45 to
Good.
50. Good. Again,
Good.
this
Good.
isn't
Good.
about like, oh, you have to jump up by this much. That's not what it's about at all, right? It's our
Yeah. Because
personal
it's
money
not.
journey.
Yeah. And I'm about to say that it's not the end of a journey. It's very subjective. So that's great that you did raise it. That's
Hmm.
wonderful.
And did you notice how scared you were to do it? You were so scared to do it. Now, have you mentioned, besides that other person where you weren't as confident, have you been able to tell anybody else your new rate?
Oh, I have earlier this year. I did.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just said
And how did it go?
it was fine. Well,
They
they
didn't
they
even
just
question you, did
Okay.
they?
No,
No,
no.
Wonderful.
And
because that's what
funnily
you
enough, it
charge.
was just I suddenly had this doubt
Oh,
this time, and then the question came, can I,
yeah.
you know,
And now you know that it's not because you're charging too much. Now you're able to, because really, you guys, people question your rate when they can sense that you are not confident in what it is that you're selling them, right? And they're like, could I get a better rate with this? Like, if somebody else can do it. That's why we have to try to convince, we need to show people what makes us different. That, sure, you could go with another tutor, but are they going to be able to get this result? Sure, you can go to another tutor, but are they going to go about it in this way that I'm talking about that you've decided is the way that you want? Right? And I think that's a big piece of it. So, Amali, congratulations. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Good
I'm
job,
glad that
Ollie.
we
you,
we
both.
get to have that awesome reflecting time when we go through a process like this, and we get to see um why things happen the way they happen. I love the reflection process that happened for you, and like, oh, now I know exactly why that happened. Right? That was a good reflection point. Like, okay, I experienced this because of this. A lot of times people want to be like, no, people just don't want to pay my rate. And honestly, that's not what it's about. Because if that were the case, I'm sure at 125, I'd have a lot of people being like laughing their butts off at me and being like, are you kidding me? Heck no, not to teach my kindergarten kid. But nobody's had that response at all to me. So I think we make up our own stories, and we have to take those assumptions and we have to put them to the side. And then we have to like, we gotta put our big plants on, right? And we just gotta suck it up. And it hurts in the beginning. Like you're scared, you're nervous, and your heart is like palpitating as you're like ready to tell this new rate. That's why I got comfortable with not telling people my rate at all and just allowing them to land on it on my website and figure it out, or they'll get it after we've had the conversation that they said that they're ready to get started, because they'll have that number inside of there. And if there is a problem, they will contact me, right? If they see that number, because it clearly that document says how payment works. Of course, you're going to open up that document to see how payment works, right? You're not
Mhm.
going to not look at that. So everybody knows how the payment works. There's no surprises for people, and they don't question it. And I don't have to have that problem. Yeah, Linda.
You said everyone, we have the story, you know, we have the story that we're
Hmm.
telling ourselves.
Hmm.
And I really want to make this plug that I make all the time in the group when I post, but it's about teachers. And you referred to this too about what is the story that we have been told, and that therefore we tell ourselves about
Mhm.
what a
Mm.
teacher means,
Yeah,
right?
we've been
And I
brainwashed.
just
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
just want to share that the reason I picked 1980 to compare my when I was doing my calculations about what we really need to make um was because in 1980 my parents hired me my first art tutor. I was going into high school, I was very talented already, and they wanted me to have private art lessons. And that was $30 an hour in
Mm.
1980, 40 years ago. Okay,
Hmm.
let that land. And so there has been a 270% cost of living increase since 1980. So I did the calculation, and $30 an hour is $81 an hour now.
Hmm.
That's a straight calculation.
Right.
But so then what I looked at is for a teacher's income, the average salary for a teacher. Okay. And I looked at the hours, and I looked at the holidays and the summers off, and I calculated up about what the hours would be for a teacher. And they're a little bit more. It's about 300 more hours than I think a tutor actually works. But I then I kind of changed it for what I thought the hours would be for a tutor. And you know, but a teacher was getting $17,644 in 1980. It was a $17,000 salary. And so it was about $13 an hour. and the average salary was like 10 to 12. So that was considered good in a certain way, except it took $61,000 to have a middle class income. So hello, teachers were never paid according to their education.
No.
No.
Because that middle class $10,000 to $12,000 salary that was considered average was a factory worker, or, someone who just didn't have education. But, so that's how they figure out the average. Because
Yes.
back then, only like maybe 15% of people had a college education.
Right.
So a teacher wasn't paid enough to live a middle class income after spending all that time in college and even grad school, a lot
Yeah.
of teachers.
Yeah.
And so it's really been
You wanna
around
know why?
forever.
You want to know why? Because it's a
Why?
predominantly female job. And we were
Oh,
also dealing with what else? We're dealing with equal pay for equal jobs. And so we have that both of those things hitting us.
oh gosh, you just clinched the story. You clinched it for me, because this is my story and it's given me so much power. I raised my rates from 50 this year to 100. Because I started to live inside this story of
Yeah.
why are we in a ghetto? Why are we in a teacher ghetto? Why do we let society even put us there? Why do I let anyone else out there tell me what I should make for my education? I have loads of education and loads of talent. And I'm a master teacher by this point. I first did my teacher training when I was 24. Like, why do I let anyone tell me? And people will tell you that a good teacher is like gold, that they're worth their weight in gold.
Oh,
And
but
it's
let's
just a
not
bunch
pay
of
them gold.
fluff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
But you
fluff
know
coming
what?
out of their mouth.
This is our way to take the reins, because in the school
Yeah.
system, we have no control over that. But here we do. And so if people want to work with the best teachers, then they need to pay to have the best teachers. And I know, like, there's a lot of people that'll be like, but then Joanne, I can't work with those kids that they need me the most. Who's to say that that parent who can afford my tutoring cannot benefit from my services? Why do I have to say, oh, but I have to work with the poorest kids? No, I don't have to tell myself that story either, because I did. I worked in an inner city school where the parents wouldn't be able to afford tutoring. But it doesn't matter if I was charging $20 or $30 an hour; they still wouldn't be able to afford my tutoring services. So why would I try to go and get them to be my clients when they may not be able to afford it? My goal is not to help people who can't afford my services and put them in debt. My goal is to help kids that need help and to help to set them up for success. And if parents want to be able to work with me, I can only work with 20 at a time. That's it. That's all my roster really allows me to do. At that point, I become book solid, and I don't have to sit there. I can actually filter through my students, be like, okay, I do want to work with this person. I do want to work with that person. Just like they get to filter me through and be able to determine if they want to work with me, I get to filter them through, and I get to decide, do I want to work with them? Right? And I don't have to work with people who aren't going to respect me, treat me with kindness, show up on time, or not pay on time. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff because I I only need 20. That's it.
Yeah, and that's what I did with my story was, okay, when I said that $30 in 1980 was 81 now, that's
Mhm.
actually bottom basement, okay?
Mhm.
Because you have to add to that story that teachers weren't even making enough to be living a middle class lifestyle even in 1980. So if you then add in the figures of what it takes to make a middle class lifestyle, it's 155 an hour. So you can't just do the calculations. Oh, teachers were making this back then, they should be making 81 now. No, because teachers were put in a ghetto from forever.
It was a problem
So
then, and it's
Mhm.
it was
still
a
a problem
problem
now.
then.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you say, well, I have to make $155 an hour if I'm going to work 24 actual class time lesson hours a
Mhm.
week, okay, in order to make a middle class income and have a life also, and have all the time I need for my prep and this and that and the other, if I'm not going to be one of those overworked teachers who's like frazzled to the max because they work their 7 hours a day and then they still have to prep and do all the other stuff, right? If you really claim your life, okay, then and if we all get together, my thing is if the whole profession of tutors gets together and claims this is what we're worth and everybody raises their rates, then that will be like what the plumbers did 5 years ago. All the plumbers got together and they raised it. And if you have had to hire a plumber in the past year or two, you will know what I'm talking about.
Oh, my mom did.
Fixing that little pipe is now $800, baby. And they needed it because they were making $15 an hour. And they were these master plumbers, but they all got together and now the whole profession is lifted. And that's my thing. Okay, I'm done. I'm off my soapbox, but I just want us all to raise.
I know. I'm right there with you. That's why I support this so much and being able to raise our rates. And I push myself as well to keep raising my rates because I know that when I do that, it helps to motivate other people to do that as well. And when I still continue to have people not even second guessing what I'm charging, that's awesome. I can work half the hours making double the pay from what I left the teaching industry at. So it is really, really awesome.
Win-win.
We've got
Philomena, how about
Philomena.
yourself? Yes. How about yourself?
See if we've got Philomena here.
Philomena.
Well, she's in the pool.
She is, I know. She's having a great time in the pool right now.
I know. She's like, I'm charging $1,000 an hour now. Yeah, let's raise this.
All right, Dory, would you like to share with us your raised rates and what this? I know you were away for a good chunk of this week, but what was it all about for you?
It was silence for her.
Oh yeah, that's
she was at a silent retreat, you guys.
I was. I actually have just arrived home, so I don't know if my video is working here. Let me see.
You're very orange right now.
Okay, maybe that's not going to work. I tried. Okay,
that's all right.
I actually raised my rates the end of the last school year. I was booked solid, actually overbooked, and I jumped my rates with the intent of no one will sign up with me if I raise them. So I wanted to deter new people from signing up because I just couldn't handle any more students. My rate I'd raised it to 90 Canadian and I jacked it up to 100 Canadian. That's 75 US.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I'd already been charging 75 US to US students since 2020. So for some reason in my mind, 75 US doesn't sound like a lot, but 100 Canadian sounds like, whoa.
Yeah.
So maybe that's because years ago, like the exchange rate was on par. And even at one point, the Canadian dollar was worth more. So maybe I realize that's a mindset thing, but once I increased it to 100 per hour Canadian, I immediately took on 5 new students at the new rate. And
Yay.
I know.
All right, Dory. Yes.
That was actually able to help me achieve 2 of my goals. One of my goals was to match my base salary at my old corporate job at the bank. Yeah. And I did that last year.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Go.
Second goal of mine was to hit 10,000 a month Canadian, not US. And I surpassed that in the last 2 months right after it.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually hit 11,000 Canadian per month in the last 2 months of the school year. So I was shocked. So I guess my goal now, since I've already done that, is trying to find ways to increase students who are at a lower rate. So that's for new students coming in. I had grandfathered initially students who'd worked with me previously, but I do have a number of longer term students who have been with me for a few years and intend to be with me for a few years more. So my goal, I have a couple of students who are still at 60 Canadian and between 60 and 80 Canadian, which is between 45 US and 60 US. So my goal is to send out a note to them, increasing it.
Yeah.
And my second goal at this point to try to push past, because I still have a mental barrier about saying a number that's over 100. I'll be honest, I can't do that.
Oh,
Well,
you
I want
can.
to.
You will in
You
the
can.
future, but
It'll
maybe not right
happen. It'll
now.
happen, Dory. Yeah.
So what I thought I would do is increase the rate for the shorter sessions instead of it, if it's 100 an hour, well, for my grandfather, instead of half an hour session being exactly half, I was thinking that if it's a half-hour session, I would charge 55, which works out to 110 per
Okay.
hour.
Yeah. That's
Very
great.
good.
I love
Yeah,
it.
that's
I love it.
super.
But can we visit, Dory, why you feel like you can't ever say that you could go over 100 Canadian? Can
Yes,
can
please
can
help
can
me
I
with
can I
that.
poke that little spot right now?
I would love it. I've actually changed on my website the US price to say instead of 75 US to say 80 US, which is approximately 105 Canadian. Um, and I've been okay doing that, but
It's
I
getting over the $100 block. So what comes to your brain when I say to you, if I were to say, no, Dory, you should be charging 110 Canadian for every one of your new students, what thoughts go through your head?
um it seems, I think it's a barrier of I wouldn't pay that if somebody
Uh-huh.
told me that
Uh-huh.
you want to charge me
Uh-huh.
$110. Like, are you crazy?
Uh-huh.
Like,
Uh-huh.
I feel like
I was
100
there
is
too. I was
already.
there too. I was there too. But this isn't about you. This is about the transformation that you're making for each of these students and the gifts and the abilities that you're unlocking for them. Because here, I don't know if Canada is the same. Are the kids involved in like tons of sports and wearing expensive sneakers
Yeah.
and doing all those kinds of things there? So it really
Definitely.
comes down to priority. Like if I'm going to
Yeah.
prioritize being able to work with a tutor, and look at what happened when you said that you're going to move it to 100, and you thought, oh, it says I'm raising my hand. I'm not. That was just because I left it up too long. Um, I'm a hand talker, people. um, honestly, it's inside of our own head. We think, oh, I wouldn't pay that, therefore, and now we've made an assumption nobody else will pay for it. They must think exactly the way I think, which that's kind of crazy. Everybody doesn't think the way I think, right?
Mhm.
But if I want a certain result for my child, a lot of times I'm willing to put the money down to get it because I value that result. And you have amazing results that you're getting with your students. And I'm not saying you should go up to 110. I just want to help get past that $100 barrier that I wouldn't pay that, therefore.
Joanne,
I
one thing
think,
that
yeah.
oh, sorry, no, finish right.
I have no idea. Just go ahead.
Apologies. So, if what you're asking me is something I've been asking myself this week, as well as I've been listening to the videos. And one idea I had, what do you think of this? Is currently on my website, I have rates for, academic tutoring, and it says 100 Canadian, or it was 75 US, changed it to 80. I was thinking about changing the way that that's presented on my website to instead call them monthly packages and write the monthly amount and show everything that's included in that. For
It's not
instance,
necessary. No,
you don't.
you're trying to prove it to yourself why you're worth that. And that's you're not really doing that for the client. You're trying to prove it for yourself. The value isn't in everything that's included. The value is in the transformation.
Okay.
So how do you stand out and how are you unique and what is your strategy to be able to get the types of results? And why do families choose to continue to stay with you? They don't stay with you because of your rate. They don't stay with you because of that, right?
Mhm.
They stay with you
Yeah,
because
no,
of the
for
results,
sure.
but they would get mad if we, like, raised the rate, so that's a whole different situation, right? So, raising a rate by $5 is or $10 is not really a big deal. If I were to raise it by 25, now we have big problems because as we talked about earlier, that's a barrier then that we have to get through with them. And now I have to prove why am I charging this more now because I wasn't charging that before. How am I offering a better service than what I was providing before? And so that's where you would need to try to prove your rate. But right now with your new clients, you help them. All you have to help them see is what is the transformation that they are going to get being able to work with you.
Hmm.
Yeah, Linda.
Um, so I wanted to say this thing again, speak this thing out about how when I raised my rate from 50 to 100, and the first time I let it come out of my mouth, like I literally, the person asked me and I couldn't say it. Like I said other things, like I just started talking, like I couldn't let it come out my mouth. And as soon as it did, their response was, "You must be good." And I was like, boing. Like, I just want to put that out into the space again because what I realized too was that, okay, maybe you raise your rates and maybe you are right about the mindset of the people that you're working with. Maybe you're right that they might have the same mindset you do because I think we tend to maybe attract people who are like us. But what if there are all these other people out there, like Joanne was saying, who don't think the way we do? And so what we need to do is stop being so selfish that we only want to serve people like us. And we need to be like, hey, there are people out there who drop $30,000 on some vacation to like, you know, Tahiti or somewhere for a week or, whatever.
Yeah.
And, there are so many people out there who are not going to hire you unless you are charging at least a certain amount because then they know you're good.
Hmm.
So
Yes, and
it's,
a lower rate
Perception.
actually decreases your value in their eyes.
yes, but I want to validate what she was saying also that you're probably right that the people that you're dealing with think the way you do. Okay. But what we need to do is crack open that nut of being available to everybody. We need to be like, oh, I'm available to people who aren't like me. I'm available to the whole world. I'm available and just kind of just open up. Yeah, just open
Yeah.
up to that the people that we serve that we're scared might drop us, that that really reflects a certain um well, I don't know, when we're on this tier, when we're on this ladder step and we're making this step to raising our rate, right? We are already going through the transformation or we wouldn't be thinking about raising our rate. Okay.
Hmm.
We're already trying to crack out of the shell. And so what we have to be ready for is there to be an open space where those people who are thinking in a like I wouldn't spend that much, those people who are thinking like that, like I didn't come from money and I might think that way too. Um, those people might drop away so that the other kind of people can come who are thinking, I'm not hiring anyone lower than 100. I wouldn't hire anyone lower than 100.
I
Just
have a
keep
trivia
saying that.
question for you guys. I have a trivia question. Are you guys ready? Take a guess. I want you guys to type in your answer. No Googling. No Googling. So just type in the number that comes into your mind. How many millionaires do you think live in the United States? Type in your number into the chat.
Oh,
And this is as of 2023.
this is awesome. Oh, supposed to type it in. Okay.
Yeah,
Type it in.
yeah.
Yep. Molly said 1,500.
Molly, 1,500. Yeah.
Christine, I know Philomena, you're probably in the pool.
Yeah.
200,000.
Then 1,000. Okay.
Are you guys ready to have your mind blown? This is just in the United States. 22 million millionaires in the United States. Just want you guys to let that sink on in. You think you can get 20 people who can afford your prices? I'm not saying that we have to be greedy money mongers in any way, but that there's a whole group of people that can absolutely afford our tutoring services and they understand what transformation is. And they're part of the package of people who can find us. And they're actually going to look at our race and be like, that's all you charge? All right, I'm getting a steal. I'm getting a deal here, right? They're actually looking at this as they are getting a deal. Not that you are scamming them or that you're way overcharging what you're worth.
Yeah.
How many people, and I didn't look this one up, how many people do you think go to private school and people are paying for their private education even though they're not getting a better education? Where did those private school teachers go to school? They went to the
Same.
same schools we went to.
Mm-hmm.
And do they even get additional professional development more so than the public school teachers? No. And a lot of times they don't even get the additional services inside of those schools. So what are they paying for? A smaller class size? Really, at the end of the day, that is all they are paying for, a smaller class size.
And
Wow.
not even all those schools have a smaller class size
Yeah.
as well. It's I know I worked at some of the independent schools here in Toronto for a bit, and there were some class sizes that were 25, 26, and these parents are paying 30,000+ a year.
Mm-hmm.
Or they might have a tennis court or a garden, but it's like, that's not costing you ongoing. That was some cement and like a few poles, you know?
All right, we're going to do
Hey,
our
it's
wheel right
all
now, you
yes,
guys.
we
It's
will.
time for the
Yes.
wheel.
Woo-hoo.
We have prizes to be able to give out to you guys. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do
And
it.
we also, let's start before we do the wheel. Actually, Joanne and I were talking, and we were like, for everybody who's here today, everybody gets a copy of Joanne's ebook, along with both copies of both of my ebooks for all of you. Just email michael@coachfortutors.com for my ebooks. Email Joanne at her email address for her ebook, and they are yours complimentary. We thank you so much for being part of this Raise Your Rates Challenge and all the wonderful successes and wisdom and impact that has happened over the last week. It's a catalyst for change. And Linda, I loved your just all of that enthusiasm about we need to be the voice for change and make it happen. So yeah, everybody, that's from us to you. We have 2 more prizes though that are on our wheel, and we are all on the wheel. So very simple, we'll spin, whoever we land on will get the prize. Our first prize is going to be a VIP ticket to Impact 4, which is coming up in 1 week's time. It's the 3-day super event for tutors. So let's see who will be our winner.
Christine!
Christine, you're heading to VIP
Woo!
Impact. Congratulations.
Awesome, Christine. I will unlock that for you so that you get the VIP ticket. So not only do you you'll get all of the replays, even some of you can even start watching them today because I'm going to unlock that for you right now. You'll be able to go on in and you'll be able to start watching some of those talks if you want to. You'll also be able to come for some special. I'm going to be doing some special calls with just the speakers and the VIPs. So you'll be able to come in on those if you're around and able to join us. So congratulations, Christine, on winning that. Woo!
I'm thrilled. Thank
Wonderful.
you. Are you going to
Yeah.
email me? Is that how you get access?
Yes, I will email you after this.
Okay, I have to go tutor. So thank
All
you, thank you,
right.
thank
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, Christine.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay, so our next prize is going to be for TutorBird, our sponsor, is offering 1 year free service with them, which is huge. So let's see where we land. Oh, I was like, it was gonna land on Christine again. It's like, whoa, Amy, congratulations.
Amy, congratulations.
Woohoo.
We
So
will send
Amy, you got it. We'll send it out to you. So you got 1 year subscription with TutorBird for free. That's awesome.
Wow,
So everybody, I
amazing.
want to thank you so much. And again, yeah, email Joanne for a copy of her wonderful ebook. Email me for copies of both my ebooks to help you thrive, develop, grow your tutoring business, take it to that next level, and continue to prosper for 2023, 2024.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today. You guys are awesome. Hearing your stories and getting to celebrate with you has been so much fun. You should be proud of every single one of you, what you're doing, what you're accomplishing, and knowing that you're not charging a rate that is too crazy on out there. You're charging a rate that shows that you care about what it is that you do, you value what it is that you are able to do, and that value that we put on ourselves allows us to be able to add even more value to those that we serve. Awesome. Well, thanks you
Thank you
guys
so
for
much.
joining us.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you. It was great.
Bye.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.